get started. It's 4 o'clock. It's a little after 4. 4:01, okay. We're starting, let's start on time. Okay, I am calling to order the annual meeting for 2024. Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for those of you who are joining online as well. I've called the meeting to order. The first thing on our agenda is introducing our clergy and staff who are here. I'm looking around the room to see. I know Andre Ivory is here. I see Andre. I see Gail Gilmartin, our executive director. And Marie is here, Marie Jones. We've got Pam Carson in the back doing tech. And I think that is everyone, right? I think so, as far as our staff. So welcome to our staff, and thank you for coming. We sent the agenda out. We're going to stick to the agenda a little bit. I will give a little bit of a summary of some of the highlights of the year. We'll have a financial report. We'll recognize our outgoing board members. We'll have our official business, which is our election of new board members, and that's everything we have to do. So before we begin with all of that, I'm going to go off of the agenda already and ask Gail to come up, and she will say a few words. Everybody here, I assume, has met Gail. Gail, our executive director, who we are so happy to have, and that's we, I will say. But it's been a pleasure working with Gail. And Gail, you want to talk to the congregation?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for coming out on a Sunday. I am not going to take too much time, but I wanted to thank you personally for welcoming me this year. And if you can believe it, it's already been almost a year. It has really flown by. I feel like this is a huge extended family to me. I wanted to thank everyone that has mentored me, especially Steve and the board. It has been challenging, to say the least, the first few weeks of my executive directorship, and we have just sailed through this year. And I wanted to just take this opportunity to thank everybody that has worked with me, that has made me feel so welcome. And I thought I was going to the end because I actually have a small gift for Steve. And I know that Steve and Beth are going through some home renovations, and I wanted to give Steve, so my favorite cobbler/woodworker, my husband, we have created a special mezuzah for you and
nice.
Beth. And I wanted to thank you for
Let me
your...
open it up and show everybody. That's so nice of you. Oh, that's beautiful.
So, handmade and hand lasered just for Steve.
Yeah, boy, that's amazing.
Thank you
very
for
much.
everything.
Thank you.
And I'll be here another year at least, right? But thank you from the bottom.
Thank you, Gail. That's very nice. Okay, time for my remarks. I'll start with a story. I usually start with a story. And it's about a synagogue who decided to get into competitive sports. And the sport that they picked was crew, believe it or not. The part of the long boats where everybody rows. And though they started a crew team, and they proceeded to lose every single race. And they decided to send one of the crew members over to prep school to spy on them and see what they were doing to try to win their races. So they did. And the crew member comes back and says, "Everybody, I figured it out. They have 8 people rowing and only 1 person telling them what to do." So fortunately, that is not the culture here at Congregation Or Tzion. We do have plenty of opinions, but that's natural. But we have a culture of respect and sharing those opinions in a way that is respectful. And that's really what makes it a pleasure to serve in synagogue leadership here. And so that certainly has been part of the last 2 years while I've been president, but it really stretches back, for decades now. It's interesting to say that. Of course, it'll be a big part of our culture going forward as well. And so with that, let me just talk about a few of the things that we've been doing in the past year. Of course, all of the things that are usually happening are still happening. We've got our religious school, Ros Gadel Religious School, led by Andre, with about 100 kids. The youth program continues to grow at the Kadima level and integrating at the teen level as well, and continues to grow stronger under the direction of our youth director, Sarah Bachnick, and our youth commission, led by Emily Schwett. Socialites has been extremely active, led by Frank and Chana Lang. Wilcott, led by Skeeter Marcus, has been active. The men's club, led by a lot of people, including Sam Binder, who I think continues to be president for an extended duration, but doing a wonderful job. Our Families with Little events has been going strong this year, and we have a Families with Littles committee led by Sarah Levy, who's on the board, and also strongly supported by Stacy Moskowitz and the membership committee. Our social action events have been active, led by Rita Schlosser, and we started a singles programming that was started by Rob Young, our incoming president, and Rob recognized that we have a lot of singles as members of the congregation, and Rob did something about it and started programming for that demographic, and we're looking forward to that programming growing stronger too. Lador Vador Society, led by Linda Moskowitz and her committee, has been strong, and those are just some of the things that, just continue on and do a wonderful job. Financially, we are in pretty good shape. Thanks, frankly, to the work of past administrations, like under the leadership of Frank Jacobson, Mitch Ross before that, and on before that. And of course, our treasurer, Mike Portnoy, who continues to be our best fundraiser for the congregation, doing a wonderful job managing a lot of funds. And finding money where we didn't even know it existed. And Mike will be giving his own report himself in a little bit. Our Gift of the Heart and Mayorot Society has been successful thanks to the work of Stacy Moskowitz and Frank Jacobson, and as well as all of the members of the Mayorot Society, including lots of people in this room. We had a lot of successful fundraisers this year, led by Allison Feinberg, Brandy Allstatter, who's here, Kim Green, lots of people. We had our Honey Project at the beginning of the year, the Final Four raffle, our Mishloach Manot project, and of course our S'mores Under the Stars event, which was a lot of fun. So those are just a few of the things. Let me focus on a few specific things. Let me start with security, okay? That was a heightened focus for us this year. We formed a security committee this year to deal with that specifically, meeting monthly, and it reviews our security efforts and sets our priorities for improvements of the building. We have increased our security measures, as you know, including increased security guard presence, where sometimes we have 2 security guards, and we've also installed bullet-resistant tinting in all of the exterior windows. At a significant cost, but it was an improvement that we needed. We have applied, right? The application is in for a Homeland Security grant to fund additional improvements. And I have to say, that was a big job. And that was led by Gail as our executive director and Linda Moskowitz, who have spent hours and hours and hours dealing with the bureaucracy of trying to get that grant. We have been really unable to do that for several years, but this year, through their efforts, we have submitted that grant and grant application, and we're looking forward to hearing about whether we receive the grant. Our staff underwent security training. There's a lot that we have gotten done this year, and there's still a lot to do. Our security committee will continue to meet, and security will remain a priority. Second, I was going to talk a little bit about capital improvements, but Mike's going to talk about that when he comes up, so I'll leave that for him. The third is our Shema project. I started talking about that a little bit last year, and that's been led by Penny Golub and Risa Fern. We started this. It was a multi-year listening campaign to talk to congregants and to increase participation and engagement. We started the interviews this year. We've got, I think, a little over 50 people, members of the congregation, that we've actually interviewed. It's had a benefit in and of itself in those interviews and reaching out to members, and we're also incorporating what we're learning to try to improve what we're doing and to better serve individual members. We're going to work to expand that going forward, to have more people undergo interviews and continue to work on that as we move forward. I also want to talk a little bit about our Martini Nights, S'mores Under the Stars. That was a very successful event led by Alan and Judy Silverman and Allison and Michael Feinberg as the co-chairs. We introduced our annual awards this year, the Rabbi Kaplan Award given to Jamie and Cindy Rosenthal, and the Sherm Minkoff Volunteer Award given to Les Moskowitz. It was a fun and entertaining evening. Everybody who was there had a lot of fun. We had over 300 people there attending. It raised over $60,000. And it was one of those events where it raised money, but it also brought the congregation together, and it was a wonderful fundraiser. We are at work on next year's event. We've got a date, which is March 1st. We have co-chairs for next year's event, and that's Matt and Marcia Benjamin, Rachel and Jay Feitlinger, and Stacy and Aaron Wittenberg. And they have had a committee meeting already. They're working on it, and it will be a great event next year. We've identified our honorees for next year's event, and those will be announced when we send out a save the date, which shouldn't be that long from now. Next, I wanted to let you know about a Legacy Heritage Onboard Grant. Again, this was something that was pushed by Rob Young, our incoming president, who took the reins for this and made this happen. It's a multi-year program focusing on board development and fundraising. It includes an incentive grant of up to $10,000 plus a match of fundraising money up to $100,000, which means if we have a project where we raise $100,000, they will match that. And so you'll be hearing more about that in the next few years. We have members of the board who are participating, including Rob Young, Brandy Allstatter, Cheryl Press, and Scott Frindell, who have agreed to commit a fair amount of time to the program. And again, I want to thank Rob for making that happen. It'll be a great benefit to the congregation. Finally, I want to focus on staff. I've already introduced Gail, and I see Cantor is joining us, so thank you, Cantor, for being here as well. Gail has been a tireless worker, and of course, as you all have met, she always has a smile on her face. She is leading the staff in meeting the needs of our congregants and doing she's working all the time. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that Gail does that you may not even know about. And we're really happy to have Gail. She's been an enthusiastic and energetic addition to the staff for the members. And Gail, it's been my pleasure to work with you this year. So thank you. We also hired Benjamin Ben-Ami this year as our programming administrator, and he has helped tremendously in outreach and administration of our B'nai Mitzvah program, and he also works in the logistics of a lot of programming events. And we are happy to have him, and you've probably seen him at a lot of events already, and he's been a great addition to the staff as well. I want to thank the other members of our administrative team, Marie Jones, as I've introduced, who used to be Marie Lewis, and got married this year, and is the smiling face that you can hear her smile on the phone when she answers the phone. And again, Marie as well does a tremendous amount behind the scenes as well, and we're lucky to have Marie on our staff. And Pam, of course, is our bookkeeper, and Pam does a whole lot more as well besides being our bookkeeper, but our books are in great shape. She does a great job as well. So thank you, Pam. We also have Jackie Varner, who is in charge of our facilities, and Jackie joined us a few months ago. And I think you can see that the building is just feels and looks and smells much cleaner. and she's doing a great job, and Jackie works very hard as well. If you come by sometime at 2 in the morning, you may see Jackie working at the building. And of course, we have our great professional team. We have our youth director, Sarah Bachnick, as I mentioned, and we have recently renewed Sarah's contract, so she will be joining us and staying on staff next year to continue to work on youth activities. We have our education director, Andre Ivory, who, besides being in charge of the Ros Goodell Religious School, of course, does adult education. Many of you have probably taken classes from Andre, and you know, this year I'd say that they've been pretty good. But Andre has done a lot of great things for the congregation, and again is one of those who steps in and does just a tremendous amount of things behind the scenes that you don't even know about, and says yes to so many things. So thank you, Andre. Our Cantor is here, Cantor Dannah Rubinstein, who also will be with us for many years, and you know, of course, I mean, you can come to any service and hear her beautiful voice, but it's not just her voice, it's just her passion for the place and her joyful spirit. You know, when you see her with the B'nai Mitzvah kids, you just hear from them how much they enjoy the experience. And that's really a tremendous thing, to be able to you know, leave B'nai Mitzvah kids with that kind of experience. And I hear that over and over again from that group. And so, Cantor, thank you very much for all that you do. Rabbi Green, of course, couldn't be here today because he had to leave for the funeral of his uncle, Sam Rubin. And then he's immediately going after that on a JNF trip to Israel. So he wishes he could be here, but you know, I don't think he has to be here for us to understand how fortunate we are to have Rabbi Green here leading the congregation. Sure, absolutely. And he just does a tremendous job with everything that he does, whether it's his insightful sermons from the Bima to just reaching out to members all the time, and just being a true leader for the community. And we're fortunate to have him. And as we announced last year, Rabbi Green's contract runs through 2031. So he'll be here with us for a long time as well. So I'd say those are some of the highlights from this year. I'd say I think we're well positioned for the future. I am going to be, my term runs out at the end of June, and I'm running. Thank you. I'll clap for that. Finally. I'm turning it over to Rob Young as our incoming president, who's, as you've seen, he's already been hard at work and doing new initiatives already for us, and he's going to do an excellent job. Rob has run our High Holidays with other co-chairs for the last many years. And yeah, it's been many years. Not anymore. Oh, you'll still be involved, don't worry. And but you know, as you know, we've had I think really well-run and efficient High Holiday services from those many years. And Rob, I think, will be a wonderful president. He's a constant presence here at the synagogue. If you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself to Rob, he is right there, and please do so if you haven't had a chance. But Rob, I really appreciate you, you know, stepping forward and taking on this responsibility. And as I said, I think we're in good hands, and I think you'll do a tremendous job. We also have our next president after Rob has committed, and that's Cheryl Press. So we're in good hands from a succession standpoint, and Cheryl is on the board and will be serving as administrative vice president, and we're looking forward to Cheryl starting that term in next 2 years. I will say, to conclude, that it's been my honor and pleasure to serve as president. I will honestly say that the 2 years has flown by. It really, I was thinking about it this past week, and I really can't believe that it's been 2 years already. I really do think we have a special congregation. We've got a fantastic professional and administrative staff. We have a dedicated and collegial board, which I want to, before I leave, I want all of our current board members to be recognized. So those current board members who are here, if you could stand up. Thank you very much for your service. And as I said, when I say dedicated and collegial board, I really mean it. We, I think our board meetings are not your sort of cliche synagogue board meetings sometimes. I think we definitely tackle some difficult issues, but we do so in a spirit that allows us to address those things respectfully, and we're all friends and members of the congregation, and don't let any of those issues get in the way. I would say that you don't commit to this kind of job unless you enjoy the people you work with. And I have to say, I truly have enjoyed working with everybody here, whether that's the board, whether that's the staff, whether it's all of you, the members of the congregation. I really, truly enjoy being able to engage with all the members, and I'm not going anywhere, but I want to say thank you for the opportunity to lead the congregation, and I'm... Three times is a charm. But anyway, thank you very much for that, and I will take any questions before I keep going. If anybody has any questions about anything going on in the congregation, I'm happy to answer any questions. Skeeter's waving, so I won't. Okay, which is fine. What we will do next is... I think we will do the financial report from Mike Portnoy, and then we'll deal with board issues. Okay, so Mike Portnoy, our Treasurer of Excellence.
Lost my pen. Okay. Behind me. There it is. Now we come to the good stuff. Steve, you should have let me go first. Then you could have, gone out with a flourish. But I think you all know by now that we're in pretty good shape. Looking at the current year, this fiscal year 24, we're projecting a surplus of about $90,000. So that's great. Some of the key drivers of that obviously are Gift of the Heart and Marot Society contributions. Terrific, that everybody gives what they can, and you all know we're on a volunteer basis, and it's a wonderful thing to give to the synagogue. Fundraising was great this year, as Steve pointed out. The Martini Night S'mores Under the Stars was a terrific success. The Silbermans and the Feinbergs led that committee. It was terrific. And of course, from an expense standpoint, we spent a little more money than we budgeted, but we brought a lot more money in. Let me, at this point, thank my finance committee, and my finance committee is composed of a number of folks, and I'm going to tell you who they are. And we'll start with the A's. Alan Silberman. David Sankfor, Frank Jacobson's here today. Greg Lynn, Howard Trow, Howie Cheek, Joyce Goldstein, Linda Moskowitz, Michael Tarnow, Perry Weinstein, Rachel Fettlinger, Bob Goldich, Rob Young, Rudy Troisi, Scott Frindell, and Steve Schlosser. So without those people, we wouldn't be able to generate these wonderful numbers that we have. You can applaud. Yeah. Especially Rob. He's really taught me a lot. Our incoming president. By the way, Steve Goldstein was supposed to be on our finance committee, as an ad hoc member, but he never showed up. He did, though, when we did our budgeting, I might add, I'm going off script now, of course. I always sent him the budget in advance, and he always sent me an email with about 60 points and said, what about this, what about this, what about this? So thank you, Steve. I know you were looking at it. Anyway, from a balance sheet standpoint, it's in great shape. We have about $800,000 in reserves. We have 3 reserve funds, a building reserve, a capital reserve. I call it a capital reserve fund, which includes the building. We have an operating fund reserve, and this is for unexpected or unanticipated emergency expenses. And we have an opportunity fund reserve that, and all those reserves come up to about $800,000. Now, we've spent some of that money, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But we're in good shape. Key achievements this year, we implemented an employee benefits program, including medical, dental, vision, life insurance, and a salary deferral plan. I wonder if I could get on the CNN debates. I'm feeling good. We paid down about $83,000 of our mortgage principal. Our balance will be about $625,000 at the end of June. Now, this has come down from originally a $3.5 million mortgage. So we've got about 6.5 more years, and the mortgage will be extinguished, will be debt-free. We've started an investment program. With the reserve dollars we have on the balance sheet, we've invested in a Treasury bill laddered portfolio, and that's going to be generating about $58,000 of interest income this year. And of course, that's part of our surplus. Steve mentioned the capital improvements that we've been making. We actually have a capital improvement or a capital reserve committee. Those folks are David Sankfor, Les Moskowitz, Perry Weinstein, Scott Frindell, Scott Stone, and Steve Schlosser. So what we've done is actually come up with a 5-year capital improvement plan. The capital improvements that we're talking about not only include the air conditioners that you hear humming above you, but it also includes the intruder-resistant window films that we applied for security purposes. We bought some technology equipment at the beginning of the year. We just bought a new commercial refrigerator in the kitchen, and we've come up with a 5-year plan that includes all the things here in the building, the sanctuary, which might need new seating, flooring, et cetera. The social hall, again, flooring, lighting, tables and chairs, the kitchen, developing an overall redesign plan there, repair and replacement of equipment. The parking lot, the roof, we have technology on this plan. We have security, we have plumbing, electrical, offices, classrooms, youth lounge, total repairs, and general storage, amongst the things that are on that capital improvement plan. So we've kind of scheduled it out over 5 years. It's kind of hard to predict over 5 years, but we've tried to do that as well. And that's going to be updated every year. So as we roll off of this year, we've spent about $225,000 for improvements. air conditioning systems, control systems, the window film I mentioned, the technology, the refrigerator. That's $225,000. With our reserves, with our surplus, we'll be rebuilding those capital reserves. As we draw them down, we're going to replenish that money and keep a good amount in reserves. Let's see, looking forward to next year. The board approved a budget for next year, and it's significantly higher than last year, or this current year, about a little over 10%. We're investing in personnel, security, programming, religious school and youth activities, and many other things. So with that, I have to thank somebody else. Susan, my wife, is joining the singles program because I've been treasurer so long. And she said I couldn't tell any jokes tonight. I really have one great joke, but please see me afterwards for that joke. She told me it was off color. I'll turn it back over to our great president, Steve Goldstein.
Oh, wait, you took my papers. Mike, you took my papers. You took my papers. So, as I said, Mike has done a tremendous job of fundraising. The T-bill laddering program was all Mike, and for that to raise $58,000 is money we didn't have, and it's tremendous. And so the other great thing that Rob Young, our incoming president, did is to convince Mike to continue to serve as treasurer. And so that's an excellent thing. But Mike, thank you very much. It's been we've been very fortunate to have you as our treasurer, and I'm really happy that you're continuing to do that. So, and we'll find out about your jokes shortly. Okay, I would like to recognize our outgoing board members now. Before we elect new board members. Before we get to the board members, I want to give special recognition to Rita Schlosser, who's here, who is stepping down as chair of the Social Action Committee. Rita wanted to do that actually about 2 years ago, I think, but we have been unable to get a new chair. Absolutely. And again, one of the wonderful things that Rob has already done is to find a new chair for that committee. And so Rita is now able, I'm sure she's still going to be involved, but Rita was made social action a vital part of the congregation and all of the events and programs that we do, and having your own social action events, and really kept that going well after she left the board. And Rita, I want to say thank you for that. So thank you. I also want to recognize Denny Lieber, who is not leaving the board, but she is stepping down as secretary. And Denny has been a great secretary, and we have challenged her in our meetings because we move fast and there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but she does a great job and gets those minutes out immediately, and which then sits on my desk, of course. But Denny, you've really done a great job. I really appreciate you saying yes to being secretary, and thank you very much for doing that. So we only have two outgoing board members this year. And the first is Julie Krell, who is our administrative vice president this year. Julie joined the board 2 years ago and has been an important voice on the board. She represents a demographic in the congregation that is a very important one, and she does a great job with that. And she's, as administrative vice president, she's helping with reviews of our professional staff, and she's been a pleasure to serve with. And Julie, thank you very much. And we have a token of our appreciation. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. And our other person leaving the board is Frank Jacobson. And I don't know what we're going to do without Frank. But Frank has been on the board for several years, of course. And Frank was a significant impetus to the merger of Or Tzion and Or Tzion. We had a meeting in Frank and Stephanie's home to get that started, and it's been just so many things since then. Frank served as president during a pretty difficult term. He was president during COVID. He was president when the sudden passing of Rabbi Kaplan happened. That's a pretty challenging term. And he got us through all of those. But not only that, he did amazing things as president in and of itself without, he's organized all of our policies and procedures in one place where we really didn't have all that stuff before. He helped put us on the kind of financial footing that we're in right now. Frank is a true leader of the congregation and just did a tremendous job. As immediate past president on the board, he's just a voice of reason on the board with his experience and his demeanor, and just is a tremendous leader on the board. And Frank, I can't tell you how many board members have told me that they're sorry to see you go because they really appreciate your words of wisdom on the board. And so we also have a token of our appreciation. So Frank Jacobson. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is elect our new officers and directors. In just a minute, I will invite the chair of our nominating committee, Toby Fox, up here to do that formally. But I just want to introduce, we have two incoming board members, and I just want to say a little bit about each of them. So Michael Hammerman, who could not be here today, is going to be our new ritual vice president. Michael, he and his family moved here from New York about 4 years ago. I joined the ritual committee. He was a board member of Solomon Schechter School of Long Island when he was there, and was very active in his temple before he moved here. He is married to Meredith, has 3 children, plus 2 adult children who live in Scottsdale, and one of his kids attends Pardes and Shemesh Day Camp at the J. He manages the retail office of Merrill Lynch, and has been on the ritual committee, as I said. And Rob again twisted an arm to get him on the board and serve as ritual vice president. And I think he's going to do a great job. The other new board member is Jennifer Brown, who is here today. Jennifer, we can wave at everybody. Jennifer's been a member for many years and is a psychologist and educator here in town. She recently led the sharing circles that we've had this past year when we were dealing with anti-Semitism and the war in Israel and things like that, and really helped contribute to the mental wellness of the congregation. Her mother may be somebody that you know in the congregation, Freddie Brown, but Jennifer, we're looking forward to representing a demographic in the congregation that we haven't had on the board in a while, and so we're looking forward to that as well. With that, I am going to invite Toby Fox to come up here, who is going to introduce the members of the nominating committee and the incoming slate. You can ask him to stand. So there's the names of the nominating committee. That's what you have to do.
Thank you. So in February, the nominating committee was appointed to identify a slate of officers and directors for the upcoming year. The committee included myself, Cheryl Press, Rick Engel, Philip Weiser, and Eva Binder. The nominating committee nominates the following congregants to the board of directors with terms beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2026, unless otherwise noted. If I call your name and you're here, please stand so we can all see and recognize you. Officers, President Robert Young, whose term ends in 2026. Administrative Vice President Cheryl Press, term ends in 2026. Membership Vice President Stacy Moskowitz, 2025. Education Vice President Sandy Levine, 2026. Ritual Vice President Michael Hammerman, whose term ends in 2025. Treasurer Michael Portnoy, also term ending in 2026. Secretary Emily Schwett, term ends in 2025. And our immediate past president, Steve Goldstein, who will be on the board through 2026. We also have, and maybe beyond, I don't know. We also have 4 directors at large, Linda Moskowitz, who will stay on the board until, all of these people will stay on the board through 2026. Linda Moskowitz, Scott Stone, Scott Ferndell, and Jennifer Brown. And then finally, continuing on the board for the second year of a 2-year term is Allison Feinberg. Term also ends, and these people, their term all ends in 2025. Rick Engel, Mo Garfinkel, Sarah Levy, Brandy Altstatter, and Denny Lieber. So we'll pause and clap. Is there a motion on the floor to accept the slate of officers and board members as presented? Chair, moved by Frank Jacobson, second, and third, Alan Freddie Brown. Is there any dissent? Seeing none. Seeing none, the officers and board and the slate is accepted. Congratulations. There you go.
Thank you, Toby, and thank you to the members of the nominating committee for your work on that. Congratulations to all of the officers and directors for the incoming year. One last thing, I just wanted to see, I want to recognize the past presidents who are in the room. I see Linda Moskowitz is here, Alan Silberman, Frank Jacobson, of course, Eddie Lang is there, and I think that's everybody, right? So I want to thank all of our past presidents for being here tonight, too. Does anybody have any questions of anybody who's been up here? What's our membership standing? Well, it depends. It depends on how you count them, but it's about 530. Yeah. So. Yes, those are member units. Yeah, family members and things like that. Right. Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Well, please feel free to hang around and schmooze. And with that. Okay, great. Cantor would like to lead us in Hatikva, so if everybody could rise.
I feel like it would be remiss if we were all together and didn't do Hatikva. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia Ufa'ate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia Hod lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot apayim liyotam chofshi be'artzenu בירושלים, להיותם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון בירושלים. Thank you. Play ball.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.